Okay, I think we are ready to begin. My name is Greta Zaro, and I'm the organizing director with World Beyond War. I'm excited to welcome you to the second annual World Beyond War Africa Conference, Imagine Africa Beyond War. I'm going to introduce our moderator for day one. Michelle Amutavi is a humanitarian response professional and a member of the World Beyond War Kenya chapter. Please welcome Michelle. Take it away.
Okay, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. I'm happy for this opportunity to know more about World Beyond War and just to know what other countries are doing in regards to maintaining peace in their countries and also in the war against in the fight against war or in the as we are all hoping to end the war. So for today, sorry, I'm trying to get my notes in order. For today, I think I'll welcome Guy. Sorry.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to say a welcome word to all the participants who are attending the conference. So, good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning to all of you joining us, depending from the time you are in your own part of the world. So, receive a warm greeting from the cradle of humanity from Africa. So at this period, last year, we were hosting the first World Beyond War Africa Peace Conference, which ended with the momentum to give the conference more weight. About 200 people registered to attend the conference last year, and this year we have almost 4 times that number. So this is the first indicator that more people are feeling concerned with what is going on in Africa. The theme of our annual conference, that I Imagine Africa Beyond War, makes sense with your interest and your presence here. Let's do more than just imagining Africa beyond war. We have come in great number, and it's time to build blocks for peace to make our dream come true. I'm greatly privileged to welcome you to this conference, which is part of our roadmap to expose wars and war-driven factors that prevent the African continent from envisioning sustainable peace. Through this annual event, we also want to showcase the perspectives of activists in the continent who are challenging the structural causes of wars. I hope that the 2 days conference that begins today will enable us to achieve at least 2 key things. To objectively read the image of Africa, which is devastated, emptied of its natural resources, with the use of wars, both by the colonial powers and by the current African leaders who impose terrible suffering on their people. Tomorrow, we will see those conflicts that are destroying Africa, that unfortunately do not get the level of attention they deserve. Another thing that we should achieve here is to pool our efforts collectively to show equal solidarity to all the people affected by wars, to address wars in Africa the same way as elsewhere, look for solutions with the same seriousness for stopping them, and rebuild devastated areas. Africa has a long tradition of endogenous conflict resolution mechanisms, which long before colonization enabled people to live in peace, to build solidarity and prevent conflict. These are part of the solution that Africa offers to build peace in the world. The presence of everyone at this virtual conference, to me, means the change we want. It means to me the change we are giving ourselves to change the history of this continent. Here is an opportunity to learn, to think, to get inspired, and identify which kind of peace infrastructures we need for a just and peaceful world. My sincere thanks to the African chapter coordinators, to the board and staff of World Beyond War, to the speakers who have worked together to make this event happen for the past few months. We all need a safer world, but let's keep in mind that no one is safe until everyone is safe. Thank you once more and welcome to this Africa Peace Conference. I will give it back to you, Michelle, to follow up the rest of the agenda. Thanks.
Can I skip over to introducing the chapter coordinators, the African chapter coordinators, for 5 minutes to just give us a brief of what they've been doing, what they're currently doing, and what they hope to do in the next few months or year.
I think we're going to get into that really quickly, but before we get into that, I think we'd love to hear the brief remarks from David Swanson, World Beyond War's Executive Director, and then we'll go to the chapters section. So why don't we have David come up and talk about his reflections about World Beyond War in Africa?
Okay, I would be glad to. I would rather hear from the Africa chapter coordinators, but I guess we will do that soon. I think most of you have been for a long time or are becoming familiar with what World Beyond War is, but it's an organization that we began 10 years ago with the idea that we had too many organizations that were just opposing a particular side of a particular war or a particular weapons deal, and often in a disastrous way. You know, we're opposing this type of weapon because it doesn't work well enough, as if we want to kill more people better. And we're opposing this war because we want to be properly prepared for a more important war, and so forth. And we wanted an institution that would go after the very idea of preparing for or waging or even considering using war, and would work to dismantle the mindset, the means of thinking, the type of foreign relations, and the militaries and the bases and the ships and the preparations for war. And we wanted it to be global, and it has been becoming each year over the past 10 years more and more global, so that Africa, the continent with the most countries of any in the world, we now have a staff person and numerous chapters, and more faster than I can count them. Africa also a continent with more than its share of the wars happening. We need to have central to what World Beyond War is working on, and so we need to continue to add board members and advisory board members, and every type of participation from Africa, and to sort of understand that World Beyond War isn't based anywhere other than Earth. It's based as much in Africa as anywhere else. And we need to, continue to develop our presence there. I'm very, very tired. I'm just back from a week in Europe, and I spent most of my time telling people that electing a different president, a different war-crazed, warmongering president to lead the United States was not a golden path to peace, and all the bases weren't about to close, and all the wars weren't about to end, and so forth. I think this is one of the advantages of being global, is that we can talk to each other. And if the media in one country is telling you that some other country, like the world's top warmongering nation, the United States, has suddenly found the solution to all war making and is going to make peace on Earth, and it isn't true, we can tell each other, and we can tell each other what's happening in different local corners of the globe. I also saw that not only are they building dramatically more U.S. military bases through Northern Europe, but they are building a lot of new weapons factories and making new weapons and making weapons they cannot possibly use. There's not there's hardly a square mile of flat ground in Norway, and Norway is now building tanks. Where are those tanks going to end up? I'm certain some of them are going to end up in Africa. I think one of the things we talked about in Europe is that we need to have days of action where we go and protest at these military bases, all on the same day, dozens of them across Northern Europe and maybe the rest of Europe, and at the same time bring the same message to the U.S. government in Washington, D.C. that owns all of these bases. We're much stronger when we do these things together, when we can find out in Washington what the plans are, and find out locally what the resistance is, who wants to prevent a new base or get a base closed and why, and we can take those arguments to Washington, and we can take back from Washington what their plans are that they haven't told anybody, even the Swedish government, that they want to expand this base, and so forth. This has, been most effective. We have kept bases smaller than they wanted. We have kept bases from being built at all. And we have to continue this. And I think we have to do the same thing in Africa, or even globally, days and weeks of actions at these bases on multiple continents at the same time. But I think the same approach is going to be helpful with the weapons. If we can protest at the source of the manufacturing of weapons, at the government of that location, and at the purchasing end, at the government that is buying the weapons, because the weapons are almost all made in one part of the world and are almost all used in a different part of the world. And if we have a coordinated global campaign from both ends, we're going to be a lot stronger in stopping some of these weapons. We also, of course, need an urgent focus on particular wars, like the war in Sudan. And we need much more dramatic protests around the world, including at the embassies, including at the weapons manufacturers, to stop the weapons going to the UAE and to Sudan. And we need to focus on media. We need to continue getting stories from where the war is happening and getting those stories into the media elsewhere. And I think, part of why the world is outraged about Gaza is because major Western and Eastern media outlets have chosen to focus on it. But another part is because peace groups have spent decades educating people and preparing people for each new escalation of this endless occupation that's older than most of us are. And I think we need to lay the same groundwork for preparing people to be outraged and informed and eager to work to inform themselves about wars in Africa in general, not just Sudan, because there are others and there are probably more coming. And we need people to understand that wars in Africa get ignored, and that we need to make a regular part of our civic responsibility educating ourselves and others about the wars that are happening in Africa with our money and our weapons and our silence. And the other thing that I think an African peace movement can really, really help the entire world with is advancing the cause of equal, universal international law applied to every country and every war maker and every war criminal. Right now, we have an international criminal court that only prosecutes Africans. We have an international court of justice that is generally ignored outside of Africa. But for African nations to be non-aligned except with peace, to not be part of the US empire and not be part of any other empire or military alliance, but rather be on the side of peace, can create a movement in the General Assembly of the United Nations and in the world media for a peace that's neutral, that's not for or against any side of the imperial struggle of the war-crazed nations of the generally northern parts of the world. So I'm very hopeful and encouraged and delighted with all the work that Guy and the rest of you are doing. And I'm very happy to be here and hope that I can stay awake and look forward to hearing what you all have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Thank you for that. And now move on to the African chapter coordinators. And we'll first start with Jane Obioro from Nigeria. I hope Jane is here so that she can give us a brief overview of what Nigeria has been up to.
Okay, I am glad to be with you and on this important conference. I'll be speaking from my presentation. I don't know, Guy, what works? You sharing or I speak? I think I sent to you.
I can share it now.
Okay, so to make it fast, yes, please do. Yeah,
Can you see
before
this?
Guy come on board, we've done prayers. We've done some pretty things. But before then, let me give you a little brief about our World Beyond War. We are able to start after 2021, but operational 2023, 22, I'm sorry. And we are still doing little well. Nigeria has been a heterogeneous we are working nationally. We try to put ourselves together to work nationally across the 36 states plus federal capital Abuja. We're still putting up things because it's a large continent. It's a large nation. At 50, it's over 50 members, and hoping to be getting more. Cutting across civil society, researchers, government, reformers are with us, media, private sectors. As such, we have been doing little with the little we have to make sure that our voices are heard. We're doing a little. Next slide. Okay, this is our focus area we are working. All our activities are geared towards peace building and education, weapon divestment, social justice and accountability, gender equality, environment. Why we put environment? Because tons of war causes environmental hazards, which are harmful to human lives, and drug use prevention, because everything tickles into people using drugs to perpetrate violence. Next slide. So exactly what do? We mobilize states and non-state actors to build peace and promote inclusive, just, and healthy society. We also advocate and engage governments and communities for abolition of wars and weapons of war. Also address underlying causes of conflicts and transform human conflict-making behaviors, because all conflicts and wars emanated from human-making behaviors, ideologies, thinkings, and reasonings. Throughout peace education, sensitizing people need to build peace, to remain peaceful and coexist peacefully. We create awareness on the plight of wars using media. We've done some article writings. We've done some media publications, go to radio and talk. We build strong partnerships because we cannot build peace without harmonized collaboration. We try to build strong partnership with government, people, and the community. Next slide. So these are the methodologies. I wouldn't want to stress on that. So I've just highlighted, based on what I've said, these are the few of broad activities we have done, hoping to do a more, because everything boils down to funding and human resources. So the World Beyond War, it was really tough on us, but we're glad we were able to make it. We set governance structures. We have a very strong governance structures, and we have a technical working group that everyone belongs to. And we conducted a roundtable debate also the International Women's Day. We do quarterly meetings. We recently held our chapter congress. We do town hall meetings and article. Yeah, at a point with the help and other good friends of our, and this goes also to the coordinator, Mr. Gee, who has been really helpful. Now we are also part of Network ISAN and Killer Robots in Nigeria. We are also working to support their campaigns. Without wasting time, you can contact us to be a member, or you can contact us to get more collaborations through our emails and our other social media handles, which we key in also from the global. These are the few of things that we have done. The pictures, sometimes tells it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you for also keeping time and for enlightening us on your awareness creation in Nigeria. You guys are doing a good job. So I think next I'll go to Fatumata from Mali.
I'm Fatumata, the coordinator of World Beyond War in Mali. Can you share my screen, please? Or Michelle? I'm Fatoumata, the coordinator of World Beyond War in Mali. I'll present you the context in Mali and the activities that you have going on. Since 2012, Mali has been facing a multidimensional crisis that have been made by Islamist rebel groups with with their union with the Tuareg group. They took control of the north of the country, and their attack has been driven back by a French military intervention called Barkhane. Since then, the country has faced political instability. So here is the activity that we launched. The Mali chapter of World Beyond War was made official in 2024 as a national association. So we seek to build peace for education because we think it's very important to educate young people and to take non-violent direct actions. So we have also partnered with departments at the university level in Bamako on a peace project. So this project is still undergoing. So we wanted to raise awareness with the population to the meaning of peace. We had several activities like a march, which allowed the team in Mali to have activities to think of the challenges that towards our country. It allowed the members to share stories. and to think of several perspectives. So now we are preparing a campaign regarding no bases in Africa, because there are several foreign military bases in the country. So we are having a campaign so that it can stop, because it's threatened our security.
Aussi dans les communautés. Et
So we also would like to educate more young people in universities and communities and plan field visits to establish peace clubs. To conclude, the story of conflict resolution in Mali. Conflict story in Mali is largely influenced by the Western narrative, especially by war propaganda. So the World Beyond War chapter attempts to tell this story the Malian way in order to raise public awareness on the real reasons for this crisis. If the military campaigns had not been carried out in 2012 with considerable military resources, and if foreign states had not been involved, the conflict could have been resolved by laying the foundations for peaceful coexistence between Mali's communities. Non-violent solutions could have been supported on an ongoing basis by avoiding foreign intervention, thus avoiding violence, saving lives, and preserving the environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatoumata. Feel free to write any questions you have on the chat, and then we'll address them later. So, right up next, we have Charles Onen from South Sudan.
Thank you so much, Zauf. I'm loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Once again, I'm Colonel Charles from South Sudan. I want to introduce by giving a contextual analysis of South Sudan, an overview. As you know all well, South Sudan is a country that has suffered for more than 20 years of civil war. So South Sudan originally emerged from Sudan following the referendum that happened in 2011 that resulted to South Sudan independent. And now South Sudan is an independent country. In December 2013 and 2016, South Sudan embarked in a serious widespread war, which has claimed life of more than 10,000 people. And many more left to refugee camp in neighboring countries of Uganda, Kenya, South, even DRC. At the moment, South Sudan's security situation is relatively calm in Juba, but when you go to a state, you can still see a lot of people threatened by insecurity. A lot of people have been killed, and a lot of young people, specifically youth, who contribute to 74% of total populations, are being used as a weapons of war to inflict insecurity to the community. So this is briefly on the context analysis of South Sudan. I hope you can proceed on with the slide. Basically, I highlight some of the challenges at present country South Sudan is facing. We still have insecurity in all parts of South Sudan, and South Sudan is having 10 states and 3 administrative areas. And in all these locations I mentioned, we still see a lot of killing, a lot of cattle rustlings, community violence, and subnational conflicts happening in most part of the country. Economic crisis negatively and badly affected all the society and the community in South Sudan. As you all know well, even the world is grappling with the economic crisis. Climate crisis like floodings and droughts has been a major threat to South Sudan, and it has forced more than 575 people left their country. They displaced from their own places to another location. South Sudan is still have a poor infrastructure, weak institution when it comes to peace building institutions and other governing institutions. And we have food insecurity due to the continuities of war that is happening in South Sudan and insecurity. Most of the people are feeling food insecure. I think you can go on. Yeah, maybe to highlight more on South Sudan's world beyond a war chapter, like any other chapter around Africans, we want to imagine South Sudan beyond war. I'm taking this from the team. In South Sudan, we have 5 leaders who are committed to volunteering support the activities of World Beyond War, including myself. In a local organization, we set a team leaders. We have the secretary, the finance and resource mobilizations, head of operation, and technical advisors. This team contribute to leaders of the World Beyond War in South Sudan. And this chapter is 4 months old because it is instituted in June this year. Having mentioned that, our team is committed to advancing the goal of abolition of war. So what so far we achieved, we established the chapter. We did some inception meetings. Inception meeting, we bring the youth group, women group together, and sometime we went one time to conduct radio talk shows when we are trying to spread messages about peace and security. Specifically, we are targeting the leaders and also the stakeholders who we think their contribution will help to achieve peace in South Sudan. We also collaborate with the Ministry of Peace Building through their partners meeting. We also share some of the challenges that we are facing. Although World Beyond War is not yet structurally registered in South Sudan, but we are trying to do it as a volunteer kind of thing. The challenges now we are facing in South Sudan, we are still having issue of office space. We lack IC material. That's why we do not have any picture to present, because we cannot do any pictorial work kind of thing without having World Beyond War logo, maybe any poster. That's so that these are the team from South Sudan. Then we also have some challenges resulting from interference from the government. This is from the points of security, national security point of view, because sometimes when we want to conduct some peace building activities, we fear the youth young people are feared to gather together because they will be arrested and maybe the activity will be confiscated. So that's why we still have those challenges. The shrinking space, the one I mentioned, is also contributing to the challenges that affecting the peace building activity in South Sudan. And also lack of funding to run and organize peace building activities remain a major challenge that South Sudan team is facing. Capacity building, because most of the volunteers still are from the school and they lack capacity when it comes to issue of organization or running humanitarian work. So these are something that maybe we call upon the broader management of the World Beyond War to really invest in people of South Sudan, such that we contribute positively in enhancing peace in South Sudan, as like in other countries. And also we have lack of institutional support, because we don't have really any guiding document, the principle, the framework that guide us in terms of our operationalization, because we need to follow the standard and the mandate of World Beyond War. We don't need to have our own ways of doing our thing. So these are some of the challenges that we are experiencing as a peace builders team of World Beyond War in South Sudan. You can continue.
Charles, you just have 1 minute.
Way forward, we want to support the establishment of SAPTA office, provide capacity buildings, allocate resources, and connect SAPTA to the bigger forum to facilitate cooperation and sharing of knowledge. These are our way forward. Otherwise, thank you so much, and sokran.
Thank you very much, Charles. So can we have Abdi from Kenya? Abdi, I hope you're ready.
Yeah, I from Kenya chapter has just given some few assignments, and I think our focus will be in 2025, our programming for 2025. I think the Kenya chapter is a very young one, and the Kenya chapter, as part of the international network, has outlined specific milestones and strategic focuses for the year 2025. These initiatives are designed to align with World Beyond War's primary goals while addressing unique regional challenges and opportunities within Kenya. Our 4 milestones for 2025: expansion of peace education programs. This will target schools, and by the end of 2025, we aim to have at least 50 schools across various counties in Kenya. Kenya has got 47 counties, and we expect to target 50 schools. Our objective will be to increase awareness, understanding of nonviolent conflict resolution among Kenyan youth. We will collaborate with educational institutions, other partners, to integrate peace education into school curricula. This will include developing training modules, workshops, and seminars that emphasize principles of nonviolence and peaceful coexistence. The second milestone will be strengthening community engagement. From the presentation of my brother from Sudan, you've talked of intercommunal wars and all that. Kenya is a neighbor to very many countries that have been experienced instability. On the north, we have Sudan, we have also Ethiopia, we have Uganda on the western side, we have Somalia on the eastern side. All these countries have contributed in one way or the other to the instability also that is being experienced in parts of the country due to the proliferation of small arms and light weapons coming across the borders, the porous borders. So in that, we anticipate to strengthen community engagement, that is to build grassroots support for peace initiatives through community involvement. We are envisaging to establish or strengthen at least 10 active community peace committees by December 2025. We shall organize community forums, we shall organize dialogues, cultural events, engage local leaders, civil society organizations, and religious leaders to foster culture of peace. The third milestone will be advocacy for policy change. Knowing that Kenya, like many African countries, is riddled with many challenges, including debts, including big budget for purchase of arms, and so many other things. So our objective will be to influence the national policy towards demilitarization and increase the investment in social services. Because Kenya is stable right now, we don't need to invest money in buying arms and all that. So we'll be conducting advocacy campaigns, we will be preparing position papers, we will be doing research, we will be carrying out policy briefs, media engagements, and so on and so forth. We intend to achieve measurable shift in government budget allocations by securing commitments from Kenyan political figures. In this, we shall also be promoting the rule of law, good governance, and social justice and human rights. The fourth milestone we anticipate to reach is a partnership with regional peace organization and other stakeholders. We can't do anything alone, so we have to extend our hands to our partners that we will work closely with AU, we will work closely with IGAD, we will work closely with other like-minded institutions, both within Kenya and outside Kenya, at least to achieve our objectives. We'll form alliances and we will develop joint projects or initiatives that will tackle issues like arms proliferation and refugee crisis by mid-2025. My brother from Sudan has already confirmed there's a big number of Sudanese in Kenya, especially at Kakuma refugee camp. We have also a big refugee camp in case along the Kenya-Somali border at Dadaab and all those areas. So our strategic focus areas will be three. We will be talking about youth empowerment and recognizing the role the youth play in shaping future societies. WorldBeyondWar Kenya chapter aims to empower young people through leadership training programs focused on peace building skills. Also, gender inclusivity in the peace processes, emphasizing the importance of gender perspectives in conflict resolution strategies by ensuring women participation in all levels of decision-making processes related to peace building efforts. Our second
Abdi,
strategic...
you just have 1 more minute, kindly. Just
Okay.
1 minute. Okay.
Our second strategic objective will be environmental sustainability as a peace strategy. We know that we have a lot of challenges as regards climate, floods, drought, etc. that contribute to poverty and all that. And then finally, we have digital advocacy tool. The world is heading towards digitalization. So we aim to leveraging technology to reach wider audience. I think basically within that short time, that's our strategic objectives and our milestones for 2025.
Thank you very much, Abdi. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi and James. Up next, we'll have Omar from Gambia.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Omar Mbub. I'm from the Gambia. I'm the National Coordinator for WorldBeyondWar Gambia. So I'm here today to give a brief about who we are and what we are doing so far since we took this chapter as a Gambia. So recently, what we know about Gambia, so Gambia is located in West Africa. So that's border with Senegal, so with a vibrant culture and also, with a diverse heritage. So the country gained independence, from 1965. So, and the Gambia also, is well known as the smiling coast of Africa. So, yeah, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, the security situation in this country, actually, presently, we have a tension about our border with Casamance, Senegal, so we have observed a lot of chaos, a lot of people so been displaced from where they are living and they are coming from the town, the border with Foni. And recently also, we have been saying during our former president Jambe, the time he was leaving power, there was a tribalism here in the country. So since then, there was no World Beyond War, in the Gambia. But recently, since we took the chapter in February this year, so we able to do most of our work in the background because we don't register the chapter finally, to be officially, doing activities in our country under our Ministry of Justice. But currently, we are working with partners, we are working with others youths and others NGOs, that's also do with peace stuff. But generally, the security in this country is somehow stable now since with our new government, recently that, President Adama Barrow, and recently, he was nominated the most peaceful president, recently. And also, the country has made effort to enhance the security measure, to ensure that a peaceful environment in the resident, because recently, during the new government, so they work tirelessly, to ensure that we don't have we don't experience recently, what we experience here, because during the Jambe, before the Jambe was left power, because there was a lot of chaos here, because, and we also observed that, so many people, get scared, or they thought that, there will be war here in Gambia, because Jambe was said that, he will not leave power. But thank God, through the intervention of ECOWAS, led by Senegalese trip here and Nigerian trips and other trips as well. That's also, contribute also, our stable concerning about peace, and also, others NGOs also, that's work with peace, they also advocate, for not a war, and they also go around with communities, to make sure that, there is no war here in this country. And also, recently, the World Beyond War chapter, we believe that it's a peaceful way, whereby, we join the global peace, to work towards ending war. And we also thank World Beyond War, and also we also thank World Beyond War Africa through the guide. He is someone, who is working timely with us to ensure that, we join with the global community, to ensure that, we advocate, for the ending of war. And the chapter in the Gambia also bring right now what we are doing, so we are doing the background work. So right now, I have someone, who is so passionate about peace nearly currently, since at the building, connecting. So right now what we are doing, with the other youths, we try to connect with schools, university schools, college, and also primary school. And also, we don't forget also about this about the communities. So we try to make sure that, so we go around to them, we teach them about, about war, what is the danger of war. So, and also, recently, since we established World Beyond War here in Gambia, we have been doing lot of training like online. We also try to do our best, so we reach out to communities, and also school as well. But recently, the most important part is phone, because right now, in our group, so we are having a lot of youths, who are from phones. So right now, what we do, so we connect them, so we make sure them, for them to be like change makers, whereby they can go to their communities, to talk with them, with their parents and with the community like one-on-one, to raise awareness about, the danger of war. And normally, together with World Beyond War, so we can amplify our voice and inspire a positive change, but not just in Gambia, but generally, that's what we are doing. Because currently, currently today, that's what we are doing. So to be honest, on behalf of World Beyond War Gambia chapter, we are very happy, even though so we are just a new chapter that established, but we also very happy, to connect with the world, so that, we can see how best we can exchange idea. And also our main objective for World Beyond War in the Gambia is like we promote peace education. Like normally, what we want to plan, like we want to organize a seminar, and also workshop, and also, we raise awareness, about we educate them about peace in the community level, and also, the importance of peace, and also non-violence and conflict resolution. Like what we plan to do activities as well in the national level and the regional level as well. And also, we try to create advocacy and activities whereby, we engage in effort to create about, the devastating impact of war, and also advocates a peaceful solution. This can be also involved like lobbying policymaker, because currently, currently we are working with some of our MPs, our parliament. So recently, we are working with them about this World Beyond War, and also, they are very impressed about what World Beyond War is doing, and they say that, always their door is open, inshallah, to work with us as well in terms of policy making, yeah, they will be very happy, to join us during our workshop and also our activities we are doing, and also in the community level as well. So currently, also, we try to connect with community level, whereby we can go to the people, and we talk them about the danger of war, and also that they can also aware about what war can be lot of danger in it, and also youth empowerment, because we also try that we involve in youth ideas, whereby we can collaborate with project with other institutions here in Gambia, and that's where share this vision and mission, and also collaboration and partnership. So we believe that also partnership is very important. So through partnership also we can able to do a lot of things as well. So next chapter. And recently, I myself as a national coordinator, I able to travel to Baku, whereby, I joined with 200 youths, that advocate for peace. So to make network and to raise awareness, and so that, we can come together and see how best, we can bring a solution about peace stuff as well. So these are the pictures recently, I was in Baku in June, okay, to participate the OIC Youth Capital Conference. So this was in Baku. Yeah, and also, we also launched an online campaign with Fatimata recently, about the global peace security. Fatimata also, we have training with him, the World Beyond War Malian chapter, whereby, she train our members, so that they can also well know and well get knowledge about, the global security system in the national level and also in the global level as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Omar. So next we'll have Watson from Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Pleasant greetings to everyone. Oh, yes. Thank you, Guy. For the next 5 minutes, I'll be speaking for and on behalf of the Zimbabwe chapter. We are very excited because on the 9th of December this year will be exactly a year old. So our considered view is that for every movement to be a success, it needs to be fortified by a robust legal framework. So our work in terms of 2024 has been in terms of 3 prongs that is mainly targeted towards the establishment of a binding treaty at international level against nuclear weapons and autonomous weapons systems. So the 3 prongs are advocacy and lobbying, capacity building, and partnership and collaborations. With respect to advocacy and lobbying, at national level, we are actively engaging the various government departments that we have, including the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the essence really of our interactions is to try and move them to see how best they can contribute towards securing an internationally binding treaty against nuclear weapons at international level. And this can be done through voting for the relevant United Nations General Assembly resolutions. And so far, the interactions with the government departments have been positive. At international level, we have been represented by the chairperson of the Zimbabwean chapter in the conference on autonomous weapon systems, which was held in Geneva in May of this year. Some of the key things which were talked about were to analyze the existing legal framework that we have at international level and the lack of a binding legal treaty really that expressly bans nuclear weapons and autonomous weapons system. We've also been represented at the trilateral conference, which was held in Brazil this year. And we are currently represented at the CCW meeting, which is taking place in Geneva, where discussions around binding instruments against the use of autonomous weapon systems are being done. With respect to partnerships and collaborations, locally we are fortunate to have partnered with Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, Zimbabwe, and have joined their campaign called the Stop Killer Robots campaign, because it feeds into what we are trying to do, because fully autonomous weapons by their nature, they are not able to be regulated by the non-principles that govern armed conflict, such as distinction, proportionality, and the most important one, the principle of humanity. And with respect to capacity building, we have managed to conduct several training workshops with government officials, with students, with community members, trying to just disseminate information surrounding this crucial aspect of peace building, how peace building is important nationally, regionally, and internationally. We have been focusing on the interplay between the various legal frameworks that we have, international humanitarian law, international human rights law, international criminal law, and public international law in general, especially with respect to the use of autonomous weapons. In terms of academia, we've done a lot of writings around the subjects. We've done position papers that we have shared with the relevant government ministries. And we hope to continue building up on this work even as we move into 2025, to continue making our voice heard, especially on deliberations around the setting up of a binding legal treaty against nuclear weapons and fully autonomous weapon systems. Now, in closing, I'd like to leave you all with a well-known quote by Lao Tzu. He says, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." So I appreciate the work that is done by each and every one of us, the work that we've been doing over the past year, the work that we intend on doing even going forward. Let's keep on the good work, because however small the steps that we're taking, at the end of the day, they are quite significant in reaching the intended goal that we have all set out to achieve. And with that, thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Watson. Thank you for the insightful presentation. Up next, we'll have Romeo from Cameroon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Romeo Tekoju Sankang, coordinator of a chapter of World Beyond War in Cameroon. So, the chapter in Cameroon exists since November 2020. It's made of young activists, including students, members of peace organizations. Our vision is to end the war in Cameroon and contribute to peace in Africa through non-violent means. So our program are peace education, disarmament, and environmental protection. So to implement our programs, we have a strategy, networking, training, and sensitization. So in 2024, we had several activities, including raising awareness on violence in schools in a context where growing insecurity has led to the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. We had several activities in schools to sensitize young people against those weapons, but also through social media. We also had educational talk with students on peace education, multiculturalism, and social cohesion. It was made in Yaoundé. We also have a partnership with to train young activists who we call web influencers. Because linked to elections, so we have seen many haters on social media. So to address this, then we had web influencers who shared peace messages through those media. And in another project that we had a meeting with political actors before the political election. It was important to exchange with political leaders so that they understand that it's important to have peace speeches between political parties to keep national peace. We also had sport marches in partnership with WILP Cameroon for a call for peace in our country for an annual event called Women's Call for Peace Week. It was made this year. The chapter in Cameroon also participated to several activities, including the Global Day of World Beyond War for Peace, the 24 hours peace wave to call for peace in the world. So, which mobilized young people through sport march. We also had a week of action against gun violence. One of our biggest campaign, it was to lead a campaign against killer robots. We have organized 2 webinars where we have talked to young people about the danger of killer robots, to bring them to know what is a killer robot, why it is dangerous for a human being. For the phase of a campaign, we have invited MPs to join the campaign to make a commitment against the use of those weapons. So, our perspectives are the strengthening of networks of peace organizations in other regions of Cameroon, the launching of new digital campaigns, monitoring hate speech and violence during the upcoming elections in 2025, and to participate in campaigns to end war in Africa. So, in a few words, here are what we've done in Cameroon. And you can reach out to us through our contact details here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Romeo. We could up next we'll have Marion from Senegal.
Hello and welcome to Senegal in Dakar. Here the chapter exists for more than a year. We are about 100 members. Some of us live here in Dakar, but some live in Saint Louis. So many students from the Gaston Berger University of Saint Louis, which are members of our chapter. We also have members in Ziguinchor. Hello, Hamid, if you watch us today. And welcome to the Little Prince, who is surely the smaller participant of this conference because he was born a few days, so we are happy to welcome him among us. So it's who we are here at the Senegalese chapter of World Beyond War. So what you are doing, we participate in 3 campaigns that have been initiated by other chapters. The first one, Stop Killer Robots from the Cameroon chapter, who will give you more details about that. We also support the campaign Stand with Congo, initiated by the RDC chapter, which is still planned, but will be launched online soon. And you're called to support this campaign. And the last campaign is a collective campaign called No Base Africa, which is the African focus of the No Base campaign over Beyond War globally. It's a campaign initiated by Fatoumata through the Mali chapter, and we have worked together with Omar from Gambia chapter and Romeo from Cameroon chapter and Charlotte from the Togo chapter. It's also a campaign that is almost ready and through which you will soon be able to bring your contribution. The objective is to ask the closure of all foreign military bases in Africa, because there's a lot of them. There are also many Russian military camps, French camps in Africa, in Djibouti. We can also find the Japan, China, Germany. There are several military bases in Africa, and we want that to stop. Then concerning the chapter itself, last year we had a campaign that called for the closure of military bases in Djibouti, which now has been integrated into the No Base Africa campaign. It still exists, but now it spreads its activities because we ask for the closure of all bases in Africa. And the last campaign is a big campaign to which we ask your participation right now. We'll put the link in the chat. Please open it, sign, share. It's named End of Sudan. So where there's a war, a bigger war than the one in Gaza, it started in April last year. It's such horrible that women can't stand anymore what's happening. And they are having packed in our villages. They have been raped several times. They are stealing food. They are raped. They are going from one village to another one, and they are raped. So once they see the rapid support forces, so they are suiciding. So please sign.
Thank you, Marion. Next we'll have Elvis from Burundi.
Hello everyone, my name is Elvis Gayo. I'm country coordinator of World Beyond War.
Can you turn up the volume?
I'm very excited to participate in this meeting.
Yes, it is maximum.
Second meeting of Africa for World Beyond War. And hopefully, I think I'm going to learn much from our speakers. So, our chapter started in 2023 with its activities, And the vision of our chapter is to create a Burundi free of violence through education and advocacy. So because I'm having 5 minutes in this presentation, allow me to share with you some activities that highlighted our chapter this year, 2024. First of all, we have Peace Club from different campuses, different universities that are very active, and allow me to share with you some activities that they are doing. Let me start by Burundi University. Burundi University is a peace club located in Bujumbura. They meet regularly as other chapters, and here they were meeting so that they can learn from each one how they can behave and how they can show a good behavior during election period. And we have also a club from Ngozi University. Here in this report, they were meeting so that they can discuss on how they can promote gender equality. And the third activity was at Health Peace Club. It is based in Bujumbura, and they were meeting so that they can discuss on how they can promote transformational leadership and servant leadership in medical field. And the last activity and the recent activity that highlight our chapter is an event where we were learning from an expert and the Professor Sululu Adolf, where he was teaching professional and medical students on how they can treat patients with compassion by promoting nonviolent communication. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for any mentorship, especially from World Beyond War staff, especially Dr. John Liwa, who is helping us to promote nonviolent communication. Thank you so much to Guy, Africa organizer. Thank you also to all coordinators globally. Together we can create a peaceful world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elvis. Leon from DRC.
My name is Wanda Elena Leon, the coordinator of World Beyond War, South Kivu, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have already shared with you the vision of World Beyond War, South Kivu, and here is our mission. The vision is to see a non-violent Democratic Republic of Congo aiming to end war and establish a just peace, a sustainable and harmonious development to individuals and different ethnic communities in the Democratic Republic of Congo and elsewhere. Our values of World Beyond War, South Kivu in DRC are love, affection, peace, justice, credibility, integrity, environment, compassion, and development. The security context from 1996 until now is made of the following elements: insecurity, hunger, armed conflict in eastern DRC, lack of respect for human dignity, loss of human life, internally displaced persons, and refugees, including women and children. Causes of insecurity: root causes of the above-mentioned security elements are repeated wars and conflicts, especially in eastern DRC, foreign covetousness of Congo-Kinshasa's natural resources, political manipulation, presence of foreign armed forces, illicit circulation of weapons, suspicions between communities, high poverty, flooding of rivers and lakes, climate change, violence, increased inter-individual and community conflict. To overcome this context of insecurity and poverty, we want to organize, if possible, the following actions: strengthen training in peace building and nonviolence and the promotion of human rights and justice. The spread of positive social values and civic education to all Congolese social strata. To support the education of young people at primary, secondary, and university levels. Carry out job creation initiatives for poor young people and women. Encourage the celebration of the International Peace Day every year. Accompany the social integration of displaced persons and internal refugees. Provide humanitarian assistance to vulnerable people. Strengthen community development actions from the bottom until up. Provide vocational training for young people. So, thank you very much. It has been Kangya Leongalenga. Thank you for your active attention.
Thank you, Leon. Roland from Côte d'Ivoire.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. The World Beyond War chapter in Ivory Coast was officially launched in June this year. We want violence prevention, peace education, promotion of positive action towards others and the planet, the promotion of mutual aid, solidarity, and environmental protection for sustainable development. Our work is based on the experience of the VIASIS NGO, an organization committed to promoting positive action towards others and the planet. Côte d'Ivoire has a history of political violence. The country experienced a post-election crisis from 2010 to 2011. "2025 is an election year with a risk of violence as tensions are already perceptible. So the threats to peace, electoral environment, which is conflictual and non-democratic, the presence of foreign military bases, and 18 speeches, and the call to violence through media and social media. And so what you are doing, you're raising awareness among local communities about preserving peace during elections. So we have also campaigns to inform and educate women about the devastating effects of war, particularly on families and children. These campaigns encourage women to play an active role in preventing violence by educating their children and promoting peace and unity. We exchange with local philanthropic organizations to promote peace and social progress. We also collaborate with other African World Beyond War chapters to prevent the establishment of military bases in Côte d'Ivoire that we call the No Bases Africa campaign. We also would like to prevent violence during the 2025 election, facilitate inclusive discussions between civil society groups and community representatives, monitor and denounce hate speech and incitement to violence in the media and on social networks, because it would lead to war. We would also like to train youth, religious and community leaders in techniques of peaceful conflict resolution and peace promotion, and cooperate with neighboring countries to prevent arms trafficking, military financing, cross-border incitement to violence, and the installation of new military bases. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Roland. Last but not least, we'll have Antoine from Togo.
So it's Zekpa from Togo. Let me introduce you the chapter in Togo. So Togo is a West African country sharing borders with Benin and Burkina Faso and Ghana. So in 2010, its population was 8 million. today. As Togo, like Burkina Faso, Togo has been victim of insecurity due to its geographic location next to the Sahel. So, in this context, the state has taken measures to reinforce the fight against terrorism, including the institution of an emergency program to strengthen community resilience and security. So, it was a global initiative affected by terrorism and security challenges. The state and civil society organizations are continuing to raise awareness of the need for vigilance to detect any suspicious persons who can perturbate, disrupt the peace and security of a peaceful population. The chapter in Togo, the team tried to have several meetings. People are so motivated. We have created a working group, a physical working group, and a virtual one. And a group of peace activists have had several exchanges through WhatsApp groups that have about 36 members. We had several activities, like the campaign of a signature of the Declaration of Peace. We talked about several aspects, including the integration of peace. We also had an activity called Family Peace Education. In September 2024, with children, we have trained and introduced them to the notion of peace so that they can develop this peace, so that they can develop peace inside their groups. Then on September 22, which was the World Peace Day, we had an activity on the topic No to War, where members met and we had members of our chapter in Togo who share with others the notion of peace. The members have all participated and brought their contribution during this exchange. There have been commitments of each member on the peace initiative to contribute, to do their best to share around them the notion of peace, so that it can be spread among our communities. Our strategy, mass awareness raising on the importance of peace in the family, community, work, public places, and through social networks. We also recruit so people can join our movement. What are our plans for the future? We have now 6 plans. The first is raising awareness and recruitment of new members. The second is to meet with human rights, climate, and environmental organizations to share our vision. Then, advocacy for peace in the world by calling for the signature of a declaration of peace at the national level. Then to create peace clubs in schools, high schools, universities. Then to collaborate with peace association, and finally to create a coalition with environmental and climate associations. So here's what we can share. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoine, for the presentation. And we're done with all the chapter coordinators, all the chapter presentations. So I'd like to say thank you to all the speakers for sharing your valuable insights on what the different African chapters are engaging in. I'm sure you've enriched each and every one of us in understanding or giving us more insight on the World Beyond War Africa chapter. And I'm also certain that your presentations will inspire meaningful conversations that will go on beyond this session. So to all the chapter coordinators, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the question and answer box, and then we'll address them. The chapter coordinators can address the questions or anyone else.
While we're waiting for some questions to come in, I do see a few that have come in the chat box, so I'll just read off those. In particular, for the Cameroon chapter, there was a question from World Beyond War's board president, Kathy Kelly, who said, Cameroon's president chairs the UN General Assembly. I wonder if he could raise questions about Gaza and the West Bank being under constant attack. So yeah, the question is there any way perhaps, maybe the Cameroon chapter is already working on this, but is there any possibility to leverage the fact that the Cameroon president is chairing the UN General Assembly? Can we use that to put pressure on them to end the genocide in Gaza?
Yes, I can answer to that question. Yes, the civil society actors in Cameroon were very happy with the idea that we have a Cameroonian at the head of this institution or the private session, and the organization have started already doing some lobbying to the president of this commission so that he can use this space to point some of our key messages, because we have conflict in Cameroon and in other parts of Africa, because we don't consider just like a Cameroonian, we consider like an African who can use his voice maybe to put down the table some of the issues, key issues in Africa. So we have the network of organization of Cameroon working on small arms and light weapons. The president of this network council was in New York during the last assembly, and he effectively met with Mr. Philomonian, who is that president, and had this conversation. And we hope that when he's back in Cameroon, I mean the president of the Cameroon Action Network Small Arms, who we are working together, we have a meeting, and we try to see which kind of levers we can use to use appropriate space to address the conflicts in Africa. Yeah.
Thank you. And there's another question from Carol also for the Cameroon chapter. Is the Cameroon chapter doing anything to address the English-French conflict in the country? I don't know, Guy or Romeo, if you want to address that. The question. Oh yeah, the question was about whether the Cameroon chapter is working on the conflict there in the country.
We have campaigned to raise awareness on this crisis. We called for, so we had several sensitization that has been difficult because refugees that we met were traumatized due to the terrible things they have lived. So it's a slow process, but through the awareness raising that you are doing, we hope to see results that we hope would have positive impact. But it's difficult because crisis is not over, so it's difficult. So we have this campaign, we have advocacy activities. We call young people to invest so that we can go back to peace. So here's everything that we do.
Thank you so much, Romeo. Michelle, I'll turn it back to you if you want to keep going. There are some questions coming in the Q&A box.
Yeah, I can also see a question from Ibrahim asking, can someone please care to explain how petitions work after getting a number of supporters? So Marion had answered this question, but I'm not sure if she'd like to give a little bit more insights.
Yes, what we do with petition, as soon as we gather a certain amount of signature, is that we deliver them to the country's embassies that we target. And we do this with a group of people called the Peace Messengers. And the thing is that we try to deliver them more or less at the same time. Generally, we give a window of 2 days where people all over the world are going to deliver the same petition to the same country's embassies. And this way we manage to create a little bit of momentum and to, we hope, send a message.
Thank you, Marion. I can see another question from Charles George Onen. The question is, I have noted that most of the chapters' most pressing issues are the financial resources. What will the WBW do to address this? Then, those who do not get visibility and publicity materials, how do you support them in this regard? So, I don't know if Greta, you'd like to answer that question, or Guy?
Maybe Guy, did you want to go ahead on that?
Yes, I wanted to answer to that. Just to tell Charles, as we tell all chapter coordinators, that when the chapter is launched, the World Beyond War offers material for visibility. If you can print materials for your events, like we saw signs of World Beyond War in other pictures, World Beyond War offers this support to have this material. So I will reach out to you after we end this call to explain more in detail how it goes and how you can get access to this. Yeah.
There's also a question from Abdi to Fatumata, sorry. So the question is, what strategies are you using to address the issues of violent extremism groups? I think you call them Islamist rebel groups. So that's a question to Fatumata. The strategies you're using to address the issues of violent extremism groups, I think you call them Islamist rebel groups.
Okay, thank you for this question. Our action is really based on education and nonviolent activism. And Islamist rebel group, these are terms that are used very interchangeably, and it depends who use it and where it is used. We can say Islamic group, but some of the people can say a rebel group, but that's why we need to really develop our own narrative, because the narrative that have been used has been imposed to us, which is from the West. So that's why we need to engage young people to understand the root causes and to try to come up with our own name of on how we can name this group, because calling them Islamists it is going to really muddy all the economic, social, political factors that have led to these conflicts. I think I answered to the question.
Thank you, Fatoumata. And then there's a question from for Abdi Bilo from Kenya. The question is, I believe it's World Beyond War Kenya chapter, if they have intervened on the Kenya military occupation of Haiti.
The question is about whether we have intervened on the Kenyan intervention in Haiti.
Yes, that's the question.
I think as Kenyan chapter, we haven't done anything. As far as we are concerned, we know that the Kenyan, it's not military, it's the police, the Kenyan police that have gone there for peacekeeping mission. And it was an agreement, intergovernmental agreement between Haiti and Kenya. The former prime minister of Haiti, who was ousted in a coup, came to Kenya and officially made the request. And also this is being supported by international, like USA and all these big governments are also supporting the initiative because of proximity to Cambodia. So we have not done anything, I think, as the Kenyan chapter, but should the need arise, we will do. But we expect what is happening, what Kenyan forces are doing in Haiti is for the good of the civilians in Haiti, not any other motive, as far as we know, unless there is something hidden that we do not know.
Thank you, Abdi.
I can also just respond quickly to that question to say that we have a large presence in Latin America as well. We have a Latin America organizer, Gabriel, and many chapters throughout Latin America. So they've also been working from that side they have a petition campaign. I can put the link in the chat, but there's a petition campaign to oppose any foreign military intervention in Haiti, including U.S. troops, Kenyan troops, any kind of foreign military intervention. So I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you, Greta. So there's a question.
Michelle, let me also add, there was I know you are Kenyan and you know, there was also a lot of protest, but Parliament rushed and passed the bill to give the Kenyan security forces the leeway to go to Haiti. So there were protests in Kenya, but there was also a case filed in the courts, but all of them have been overturned in favor of the government. So that's the level Kenyans have gone, but it is an effort that went into futility. Yeah.
Okay. So let me proceed. There's Florina, who says, I'm very impressed with the work being done in Africa, UNESCO partnerships, lobbying governments, doing peace education in schools, universities, and for medical staff. And I'm just wondering, how many volunteers do different chapters have to be able to do all this?
I think that's a question that's open to anybody. Any chapter coordinator is welcome to unmute and respond, or Guy might want to respond on behalf of the overarching work being done.
Yes, in terms of yes, the university activities are mainly in Burundi. You have them in Mali. You have in Cameroon, in Togo as production. They are building a kind of movement. we start with the chapter coordinators making a group of members, and the movement grows. As they go to one university, there are many volunteers who want to get involved, and this is how it got more importance in Burundi, starting from 1, 2, 3 to more universities. And like Mali did, they started with a partnership with the university, and the students at those universities become interested and trying to follow up the activities of the chapter, not only the Peace Club, but other peace work, education for peace that the chapter is doing. So the strategy is like building a movement around some topic. One other things that the Burundian chapter did was to create a topic of language, because Burundi, they speak mainly French, and there are many people also interested in speaking English. They created a space to learn English, but using this space to recruit more members, more volunteers who became active in making the clubs bigger and finding more volunteers to be part of their activities.
Thank you, Guy. So there's another question. I believe this is a follow-up to Fatumata's question. It says, what research has been done into who is funding the so-called Islamists? They tend to attack where resources are. Could they be working for predatory corporations?
Okay. In Mali here is not that people don't know who is financing them, or that there is no report on that. But I would say our leaders are not take this problem into serious, I would say, because their strategy is based on militaries, like using bomb drones against this group. I would say in Mali, there haven't been a comprehensive researches to try to understand different key players finding these actors. Most of the reports, for instance, we would have is come from the West, like big agencies like United Nations trying to address economic factors, vulnerable young people engage in this, but they never talk about the big players who is providing arms, weapons. But the conflicts between the recent conflict between Mali in the northern area in Tinzawa 10 show how the West was involved in that, especially Ukraine. And there have been attempts of the Mali government to engage United Nations about this, how Ukraine has supported rebels in the north to attack the army. And they haven't got any response from the United Nations. It is a critical issue. I think this is a big topic that needs to be addressed if you want to build a sustainable peace in Mali.
Thank you, Fatumata. I believe the questions are over. There was just, is there opportunity for cross-learning among WBW chapters and exchange program maybe? And Greta responded, yes, we have meetings and trainings 4 times a year for all chapters, as well as an email list for all chapters to communicate together. So I believe that has been answered.
There is another question in the Q&A, Michelle.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. Shabnam asked, can the Somaliland representative please speak to this critical matter? Israel military control of Africa leads to chaos, land theft, and resource control. The aggressive agenda of the expansionist Israeli regime is now spreading further into Africa. The settler colonial entity plans to occupy and militarize a region of Somali known as Somaliland. Will African countries take action to stop the genocidal regime's move to balkanize Somalia? Watch a powerful interview with international human rights lawyers chief Charles Tuku, which I believe everyone can watch later. But yeah, so will African countries take action to stop the genocidal regime's move to balkanize Somalia? That's a question.
So I can answer to that. The thing is that
Well, I can say on this that
okay.
I have
Go
to
ahead.
Yes. Okay, Madam. Yes, you can come in after me. So it's an issue very very important to look at, and so far I think Chapman, you are going to really connect to go deep to see what we can do, but definitely Africa has to take an initiative about this. Marion wanted to talk too.
Yes. The first thing is that the question say, can the Somaliland representative answer the question? And that's the first point that I want to bring. Let's say the Somaliland decide to take action. Israel is going to go to the next country. So what is crucial in Africa is solidarity. Because, France has been ousted from some countries and now they come back in some others. So this is why we have started this campaign, No Bases Africa, where all countries in Africa are going to send the same message that we don't want any foreign military bases in Africa. So solidarity is key here because Israel is not the only imperialist state. USA are in Africa, Russia is in Africa, China is in Africa, Japan is in Africa, Europe, Germany, Italy, Spain are in Africa. They all want Africa and their resources. So the answer has to be global by all countries in Africa. Solidarity is key, and this is what we are doing with the No Bases Africa campaign.
Thank you, Marion. And then Jive asked, can I join a chapter based in another country if there's no chapter in my country? And Greta responded, yes, you are welcome to start your own. Yes, or you are welcome to start your own chapter in your country. Please reach out to us at Africa@WorldBeyondWar.org. There are no more questions. So I think we'll end it here today. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for joining the meeting and for participating. So on tomorrow's agenda, we'll have an overview of the conflicts in Africa, and we will have presentations by two keynote speakers. The first one will be addressing Western colonialism, racism, militarism, and exploitation inflicted on Africa by Sylvie Jacqueline Ndongmo. Yes. And then the second one, Sylvie is the president, of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. And then the second one will be establishment and strengthening of infrastructures of Africa in peace by Dr. Oseremen Irene, who is GAMIP president, and GAMIP stands for the Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructure for Peace. So before I end, I'm seeing another question from Shabnam, which says, at the recent UNGA, 7 countries tried to conclude a clause in the controversial pact for the future that would prevent foreign intervention in national matters. The African countries led by DRC objected. Why? So I don't know if we'll answer this question today. If any chapter coordinator would be willing to answer this question today.
I
Or
can
we
do that
keep
very
it-
quickly. I can do that very quickly. It's people at the UN or governments. And so, there is all games of corruption and powers. And so, yeah, they're against that. But who we are the population, we are the citizens, we are the civilians, and we don't want that. At the UN, that's the governments, and they don't necessarily represent the voice from the people. That's why.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you for that. So once again, thank you to all the participants and each and every one of you for joining. So I'll invite Greta to give us the concluding remarks for today and end the Zoom meeting.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our presenters, and thank you, Michelle, for being our day one moderator. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So, as Michelle said, yes, we will be back here tomorrow, the same time, 4 p.m. West Central Africa time, same Zoom link. And we will send you an email later today that has the Zoom link and the agenda for tomorrow, so you can have that at the top of your inbox. And at the conclusion of the event, we will send the recordings from both days, and we'll also send the slides and other materials. So don't worry, you'll have all those resources. So thank you again, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.